Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United against Watford in the Premier League at Vicarage Road. So another away trip for Manchester United after a couple of home games. Manchester United go there looking to get 3 points and get another crucial 3 points in the league actually, after drawing against Everton from 6 points against Spurs and City. We drew against Everton, dropping more points, which was massive disappointment for Manchester United. We've seen us do that on countless occasions, and obviously, you know, the circumstances of that win, we should have won the game, but you're thinking back to that, Sheffield United, Aston Villa, far too many times that we're dropping points in games that we should be winning, and Manchester United have to make sure that we win this game at the weekend. This is one of those games yet again that we should be winning. We should be beating Watford, bottom of the table, not doing very well this season, onto their third manager already, which, given Nigel Pearson has just arrived, you could expect a little bit of reaction from them. But nevertheless, we have to get a result in this game. We have to get 3 points, and we have to make sure they're coming back to Manchester with the team. There's also been plenty going on today as well, with rumours about Erling Haaland, Paul Pogba, loads of chat around transfer news in regards to those two players, but also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thoughts in the press conference ahead of the game as well, as we look towards what is a tricky-ish game now. Because Nigel Pearson's there, because, you know, I know they lost against Liverpool 2-0, but they missed so many sitters. That game could have been very, very different. And at crucial stages of the game, they missed sitters as well. So there was some sort of reaction from the team. So they will be a little bit better than we have been seeing of them under their last two managers. But United need to go there and get a win. And I think with them playing at home, it could possibly play into our hands. It could possibly be a case that they will push out a little bit. They will try and get goals. They will try and impress the home fans. And if they do that, that will obviously play into our hands and allow Manchester United to hit them on the counter-attack, as we've been doing to teams pretty often and pretty well this season as well. When I was talking to Steve earlier on the full-time Devils preview, he mentioned a valid point, which, despite the fact you do look at it and you think, we're still finding it difficult to break down teams, we're still actually scoring a lot of goals. And if you look at a lot of the recent games, we have been scoring a fair few goals. So, you know, the goals haven't dried up. That's not the issue. But when teams want to sit in, when teams want to get compact, when teams want to hold on to a clean sheet, pretty often it's far too easy for them. Now, I've been saying, I feel that's because of the lack of creativity we have in that central number 10 area. No one that's really there to be able to unlock defences. We're missing Paul Pogba. And a lot of you are already talking about Paul Pogba in the comments. We got Kim Anzi who's saying, do we think he'll play on Sunday or be rested till Boxing Day? He's only just returned to training. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the matchday squad, but I don't expect him to start this game against Watford. I don't think Ollie will be wanting to rush him back. Ilya says Pogba will not play for Manchester United again, which is interesting, because if you read the comments that have come out today and have been attributed to both Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Mino Raiola. Firstly, it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the press conference. Now, you could take these with a pinch of salt because you'd expect him to say it, but he said the player wasn't for sale and he wouldn't be leaving the club in January. And obviously there's been rumours about whether he'd leave in January. But then, later on in the afternoon today, Mino Raiola, his agent, has come out and spoken. And he said that Pogba wants to stay at Manchester United. He wants to win things at Manchester United. He wants to be in an environment where he can win things at Manchester United. He's criticised a little bit the club for how they run off the field and in terms of focusing on commercial deals rather than footballing success, which is something that we'll all agree with. And he also said he feels Pogba needs more support, but he didn't seem like an agent that was looking for a move for Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, I still think Paul Pogba is going to leave next summer. I think that's a massive possibility. But we could be seeing here Paul Pogba being open to the fact that maybe his future is at Manchester United. Maybe a new contract could be on the horizon. Now, he could sign a new contract and still leave. That is a possibility. Although if he signed a new contract, I wouldn't expect him to leave in 2020. He could easily do that. And Obviously, Mino Raiola could be angling for a transfer, for a better contract. But a lot of what he said rang true. And I think a lot of what he said as well about Pogba being misunderstood, his heart being in the right place, him being a good boy, I think is true. I think him saying Pogba wanted to come home, this was a decision he made. He wanted to come back to Old Trafford. He wants to be a success here. He wants United to be a success. I'd believe that to be true. Now, obviously, I believe Pogba would have wanted a move at one point. He may still want that move. But hopefully, there's a future for him at the club. And hopefully, this is a sign of that. But I wouldn't hold my breath. I still think he'll leave in the summer. But it's good to hear that we're not going to have these issues of, is Pogba going to leave in January? And a whole host of headaches around that. And hopefully, we can now see a Paul Pogba be reintegrated into the team, come back, get into the team, help Manchester United to success this season, whether we get Champions League football or some trophies or whatever, and then let's address it in the summer. He may sign a new contract in that time, which would be great, whoop-to-do, but if he doesn't, address it in the summer. But I'd hope this is the last we hear about it now from Pogba and his camp. And if it is, we can get on with the season and wait until a new contract signed or a transfer happens in the summer. But I'd love for it to be the end of it now. We know the press will continue to drum it up. And I think with Paul Pogba, he is misunderstood. I think he doesn't help himself at times. And I think he has been inconsistent on the pitch. I'm not excusing his performances at times because they've not been good enough at times. At other times, he's been our best player. But with Pogba, if we can get him back and we can get him playing, then, you know, it'd be great for the team. With him as well, I don't see like in the summer, he said he wants to leave in the summer. He still came back to training on time. He still came back to pre-season on time. He was still fully involved with all the commercial activities on tour, fully involved with the team. Compare that to someone like Nemanja Matic, who's often been outspoken in the press, Romelu Lukaku, who forced a move away to Inter Milan. Compare that with those things. And I think actually Paul Pogba has been quite respectful to the club, which he doesn't get. I don't think he should get credit for being respectful, but he's often painted as this disrespectful character. And I think that's totally unfair. So hopefully, now his agents come out and said this, there'll be a little bit of slack for Paul Pogba, and hopefully we can get him back into the team ASAP. Ilya, if you don't want Paul Pogba to stay up, look, if you think he'll leave or whatever, that's fine. But if you want to sell him as a Man United fan, I find that bizarre because he's our best player. He's simply our best player, and he'd improve us so much. People getting giddy with McTominay and Fred, and I've been delighted with some of their performances this season. But they're not a shade on Paul Pogba. And if we can get him back into this team, we are a much better team. We are a much better team. Support him while he's here, says Mo. Pogba is United in his heart, says Zishan. Ilya says we need to sell Pogba. Kim says the problem with Pogba, Ollie's fault for is the problem with Pogba, Ollie's fault for playing him deep as a CDM. I don't think Ollie really played him that deep, you know. I think obviously when we've gone to a 4-2-3-1 because of a lack of midfielders, we've had to play him a little bit deeper. But I think if he was available this summer, if he was available for selection this season most of the time, I think we would have saw him in an advanced role. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sees his best position as a deep lying position, which is great to see as well. Keep your comments coming in, keep your super chats coming in, keep everything coming in here on AdamMcKola TV. We had a new video uploaded as well yesterday, so when we're finished here, you can go and check that out on the channel. It was a weekly United where we talk Ashley Young's potential releasing, the lazy Anthony Martial analysis, and also reaction to that natter and that chatter about Paul Pogba's family wedding. And now we're talking about Watford against Manchester United this weekend, Vicarage Road. I'll be there this weekend. Really looking forward to it. Susan's in the comments saying, well said, personally, I cannot wait to see Paul Pogba back. David says, Pogba must feel the negative criticism online. They keep an eye on all the fan reactions. I think they do, but he also gets a lot of love online. So I think whilst negativity is often very loud, he does get a lot of positivity as well. Of course, I've been in that situation on a smaller scale, and negativity does stand out a lot higher than positivity when you're reading it in your mentions and your comments and stuff like that. So I can understand how it can affect players' mental health and their well-beings and all that, but there will be positivity there for him as well. I hope Ollie decides to play Pogba as a 10, because Fred and McTominay have a chemistry as the two deep line midfielders, says Kim. He's not trying to force a move, he's just looking at the saturation of the squad. No improvement, don't blame him, says Rambo. Is he doing a Wayne Rooney? Remember when Wayne Rooney demanded a transfer because he felt United weren't going in the right direction? Maybe he's doing something like that. 4-3-3 when Pogba returns, says Ryan. I think the 4-3-3 is definitely something that we could use at home against those teams with the deep line block. Use it, because I do think the problem for us is it gets very crowded in that final third. Our number 10 ends up drifting in there, our wingers, our midfielders. It gets cramped. Maybe if you play a 3, you have the deep line 2 there, you can kind of draw people out, set traps so you can suck defences out. Pause. But it'd be good to see us be doing that and trying new things at home. But we haven't had the options to play a midfield 3. Maybe now Garner's coming through, Levitt's coming to the forefront. I know Ollie don't want to risk him. Pogba's returning, McTominay, Fred are getting into some form. Maybe now with all of that hopefully he'll be back soon to see him 4-3-3. The Erling Haaland stuff as well. Earlier on this morning we heard reports that he was on a plane to Manchester, and it went, set alarm bells ringing. Everyone was checking out flight radars. They were doing this, doing that, doing the other. As Erling Haaland was reported to be on his way into Manchester, and then it was reported that he was in Copenhagen. Now I don't know whether he's gone to Manchester and then gone to Copenhagen. I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether he was in Manchester or it's false reports. He's having a little bit of fun of it via his dad online on Twitter. Alfie Inga Haaland, the guy that Roy Keane absolutely snapped into 10 pieces, was tweeting the publisher, the journalist of the story, saying, "Are you sure?" or something like that. "Where next?" or something like that, with a picture of the airport board. So they're having a little bit of fun with it as well. You can tell he's a Mino Raiola agent player, can't you? You can just tell. Probably why Mino Raiola's sucking up to us at the moment. Watford should be there for the taking. They couldn't kick a ball in their last game, says David. Thoughts on Arsenal appointing Arteta, says Sonny. Again, it's an unknown. You hear good things about him. You know, within football circles and within the press, you hear him speaking highly of by different people, by Wenger, by Pep Guardiola, whoever. But the proof's in the pudding, and it's all about, you know, it's all about how they perform, what results they get. I think Arsenal could be a little bit of a poison chalice. You look at the squad there, it's a little bit rotten, kind of reminds me of United about 12 months ago. You look at the fan base there, it's rotten, which it will always be, and it will always flare up after a defeat or two. And that's always going to be difficult for managers to handle. But I do think it's an interesting one, because obviously Arsenal, financially, I don't know whether they have the resources, but in terms of stadium, they play in the Premier League, it's in London, they've got great facilities, etc, etc. You know, it's there for a manager to go and make that job his own and build something. It's whether he gets given the time to, and whether he's actually good enough, we don't know yet. We only know through theory of, you know, what is discussed behind the scenes and what people have heard of him. And we've only seen him as an assistant. Until he's proven as a manager, you can't really say anything, either good or bad. You don't know which way it's going to go. And that's why you'll see Arsenal fans at the moment being either really for it or really against it, because there's no right or wrong. You don't know what is the right answer with that one. Who will bet with me Haaland is not coming to United, says Ilya. I'm not having a bet on that, because I don't buy into these transfer. Anything can happen with them now. We may be talking with him, we may be talking with his agent, we may be talking with his father, we may be talking with his club and trying to make a move happen, but whether it happens is another thing. Now obviously with the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer link there, with that kind of thing, it's a possibility, but I don't know, we'll wait and see. I'd like it to happen, because we need a mixture of players, we need different selections. At the moment, our first choice front three, James, Martial, Rashford. Beyond that, we've got Greenwood, Lingard, not a lot. You know, Tahib, then the younger lads, Tahib, Chong, Angel Gomez, etc. We haven't got a lot of attacking players. So when people are going mad saying, why are we signing Erling Haaland, or why are we in for him? We need players in those positions. He also offers us a different style of player as well. And I wouldn't be worried for Rashford or Martial or Greenwood. They'll have to step up to the challenge. Now, we needed to replace Lukaku anyway. If Lukaku was here, would you have been worried for Martial then? Rashford then? No. So Erling Haaland coming in is just taking up that position in the squad. And it's a spot in the squad that we do need filling. Anyway, let's get back to this Watford game that's coming up at the weekend. And we've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference today as well, where he confirmed a few things. Of course, I haven't changed my prediction on this graphic, which was a little bit of a ball ache, but I'll change that right about now. But my predicted team for this game is David De Gea in goal, Aaron Wan Bissaka, Maguire, and Axel Tuanzebe I've gone with in the heart of the defence. Then I've gone with McTominay and Fred, which is a pretty obvious one, you'd like to think. And I've gone with James, Lingard, Rashford and Anthony Martial. That's my team for this game. De Gea returning in goal, Wan Bissaka, Tuanzebe, Maguire, Williams. Then I've gone with McTominay and Fred. In front of them, Lingard with the width occupied by Daniel James, and of course, 1 second, let me find this graphic, and of course Marcus Rashford, and then up top Anthony Martial. I haven't played Mason Greenwood. I don't think Ollie will either. I think he's going to look to protect him. If you see Mason Greenwood start, it'll probably be in place of Daniel James, who's been out of the team for a while. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But I do think we'll see James, Lingard, Rashford and Martial as the front four with McTominay and Fred. Pogba is back in training. Wouldn't be surprised to see him involved in the matchday squad, but I'd expect him to be on the bench. Can't imagine he'd come straight into the starting lineup. We've got plenty of fixtures coming up as well, so there's loads of games for him to be involved in. Obviously on Boxing Day we've got Newcastle, and we've got Watford coming up after this one, Newcastle, Burnley, Arsenal, so there's plenty of games for him to be involved in. Then we've got Wolves away in the FA Cup, so you know there's no need to rush him back. Now I'd like to think this is a game that we could probably do without rushing him back in anyway, especially if McTominay and Fred are available. They will obviously both rested at the weekend, so quietly confident we can field a strong team. Don't have to risk Paul Pogba, don't have to rush him back just yet. David De Gea, Wan Bissaka, Tuanzebe, Maguire and Brandon Williams, McTominay, Fred, James, Lingard, Rashford and Anthony Martial. Who's in your team? Was Tuanzebe injured when he came off? I didn't realise he was injured, so maybe we'll see Lindelof in the heart of the defence. I agree, Greenwood will probably make more appearances this season on the right, says David. I think he'll be back up for Daniel James, to be totally honest with you. I think if we're looking at Erling Haaland coming in, we've got a front two strikers that can play in the 9. Then you've got Rashford who can play on the left, Daniel James who can play on the right, with Greenwood as an alternative option there as well. So I wouldn't be disappointed with that at all. Lingard the man for this game? I don't think so, says Shivesh. Lingard's done well at Vicarage Road in the past. I remember him scoring an absolute messy Lingard goal as he ran through the team in a 4-2 win, was it? I might be wrong about that, but I think it was 4-2 under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, we won there last time out 2-1. We do need to go there and get a result. I think we're going to win 3-1. And I do actually think Jesse Lingard is the man for this game. I think someone that will be able to press them high up the field, get into their defenders' faces, try and close everything down, help Martial, Lingard and Rashford. I think Jesse Lingard is actually the man that will do well in this game. The other alternatives are Andreas Pereira, Juan Mata. For me, Jesse Lingard's more suited to this style of game, especially if we're likely to have more opportunity to play on the counter-attack. I do think Watford, yes, they're going to be defensive, but they're going to have to come out a little bit at us at home. You know, first game under their new manager, they're at home. I think they'll come out a little bit at us. But I do think Manchester United will win this game. That's my predicted team news anyway. Brandon Williams in at left-back as well. And obviously we might see Victor Lindelof come in for Axel Tuanzebe. Tuanzebe for me was more preferred rather than expected. Glenn Fletcher says Lingard all day long. Venky says he would go with Victor Lindelof at the back. Will De Gea command his post because of the last match disappointment when he didn't? I think he will, Kim. I think he will. At least I hope so. Anyway, come on United, we need to beat crap teams like Watford, says Ilya. They are bottom of the league and we should be winning this game, that's for sure. Obviously I've gone with a positive prediction of 3-1 Manchester United, but not sure whether I'm right on that one or not. That team will blitz Watford, nothing to worry about, says David. So lots of confidence in here as well. Piyush says, I feel more confident of us keeping a clean sheet when Axel and Maguire start at centre-back. Is Luke Shaw injured, says Mo Wada? He's not, no. He played midweek against Colchester. I know Brandon Williams came on for a brief cameo, but I'd go with Brandon Williams. I feel like he's better attacking teams. I want to see Brandon Williams coming in. I don't think Luke Shaw attacks teams enough or with enough gusto. I want to see him trying to beat defenders, get beyond them, but he doesn't do that enough for me, and I think Brandon Williams does do that a little bit more. Of course, you could see Ashley Young playing against his former team as well. Rumours he could be gone at the end of the season on a free. I did a video about that which was uploaded yesterday and you can check out on the channel right after this one. So that's my predicted team news. My predicted 11, sorry, it's not team news. David De Gea, Wan Bissaka, Tuanzebe or Lindelof, Maguire, Williams, McTominay, Fred, James Lingard, Rashford, Anthony Martial, Paul Pogba, Hope.